Good evening. I'm here to speak with you on a health issue topic called depression. Imagine, if you will, that you're living a great life, perfect house, perfect husband, perfect amount of children, the perfect car, everything is just perfect in your life, but something just isn't right. You don't feel happy, you don't feel sad, you feel nothing, and you don't know why. And the reason is, most times, it is depression. Many people don't realize that it is depression until they either seek help or they get to a medical state that causes them to have to be hospitalized or actually taken to a physician. There's two of the forms of depression that I would like to speak to you about is clinical depression, which is a long-term depression, and another depression called, for short-term, SAD. That's seasonal affective disorder. In seasonal affective disorder, it is short-term. Generally, they have found that it occurs about the same time of the year. Most of the seasons are going to be fall and winter. They are the most averages where people have experienced the seasonal depression. There are some rare cases where they have documented summer depression, and those symptoms are very similar but different. I would like to talk to you, I've just mentioned the differences in the two, and I would like to talk to you about some of the causes and then explore some of the treatments that they've documented. Clinical depression and seasonal depression have very similar symptoms as I just mentioned. Clinical depression, of course, lasts a year or more, and then the seasonal depression is short term. Two of the reasons that are mentioned are lack of social activity. These are some of the symptoms, of course. Sleep too much or sleep too little. Constant headaches, stomach aches, body aches, either lose a lot of weight or gain a lot of weight, moodiness, fatigue, irritability. That's the basic ones for both of them, actually. And some of the documented causes of depression. It is most mentioned that the documented cause of the clinical depression, or any depression, is related to an off balance of chemicals in the brain, or there's another chemical that it mentions that there's an off balance many times found in the research. It says that it can be linked to events in your life, such as death, divorce, losing a job. It can also be linked to other medicines that you're taking. And it can also be linked to worse depression, linked from a medication you're already taking for depression. And some depression medicines are also used for other reasons. And sometimes this can actually cause, a worse symptom of depression. It says that the statement about the chemical off balance doesn't really capture how complex the disease is. That having, the fact of having too little brain chemical or too many brain chemicals, that it's actually got a genetic vulnerability, the stress in your life, the medications, and so forth. However, on the seasonal, it is a lot of times lack of vitamin D, because we need the sun to optimize vitamin D. And if you're not getting out in the sun, then you're not going to get vitamin D, and you also won't have serotonin, and you'll be, out of balance on serotonin. The temperatures, sometimes temperature, the coldness, the wetness can cause depression, but it's not as much of the symptom as the other things that you have from, and even just the lack of the deficiencies in vitamins can cause all these other problems in your health, and then you get on a roll, you're actually getting more depressed because you don't have energy, you don't want to do anything, and then you get depressed because you don't want to do anything and you don't get out. So isolating yourself from all your loved ones is a result of that, and isolation breeds more depression. Depression breeds isolation, and the more that person is isolated, the more depressed they're going to get, and all the other symptoms just go downhill from there. Some of the other causes are like social stresses, other than painful events, the seasonal change, chemical, even social stresses like too much, you're working too much, or you don't have enough hours because your finances are off balance, or you have too many bills, or you can't get a grip on your budget. All those are social stresses. So finally, let's discuss the end, some clinical and holistic treatments so that we can become more familiar to look for these symptoms in our loved ones and in our friends that are actually missing in action most of the time because they're isolated and they don't know how to get out of that circle of isolation. So some of the treatments are, of course, medication, psychotherapy, talking with a trained counselor, reaching out to a close friend or a family member that is going to be like a point of contact, a point of strength for them, encourage them through their tougher days, uplifting music, just lifestyle changes where you got somebody that kind of forces you out of the house, and if they, until you get to that day of being able to be forced out of the house, that they actually understand you and spend some time with you and just love you. A well-lit residence, because most of the time depressed people stay in dark houses. They have very little light, which in turn causes more imbalances in their vitamins and stuff. It says don't leave the curtains closed all day. Don't leave the lights off all day. Talk to your medical doctor about how you're feeling, or discuss it with your close friends and family, and so that they can discuss the choices of using the antidepressants or the mood stabilizing medication. And in reference to the seasonal depression, they've actually started using what they call light therapy, and they've proven that the light has been helping people come out of the seasonal depression, because the light is actually helping build the vitamin D, and there's something about light even coming through the eye, the pupil of the eye, that helps heal them. And in some of the tests that they ran, it actually showed that people with seasonal depression reacted to the treatment of light just as quick as they did with the antidepressants, which they could have, effects from. So I thought that was a pretty good treatment. So, and overall, we have learned that if we know someone displaying symptoms of depression, or have the knowledge that that person has been diagnosed, that we can make a big difference in how they move forward in dealing with hard days by being their encourager, supporter, and their accountability partner. They will know they are supported to try medications that could possibly help them get back into a normal rhythm of life, and they won't be frowned upon for an illness that they had no choice in. So let's recap the educational overview of depression. I have shown that depression comes in more than one form, with seasonal changes and long-term, and that its symptoms and causes are related but different. Depression gives no favor to age or gender, and treatment options are dependent upon the type of depression, the age, and the severity of the symptoms. Two of the forms of depression that we discussed are clinical, which are long-term, and seasonal depression, which is also called seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. The causes of both depressions can be the same, similar, or different at the same time. Causes can come from inheritance, social factors, hurtful events, environmental changes, and even the medication that is given to treat depression or other illnesses. Treatment options are clinical medications, therapy, light treatments, and lifestyle changes. So the next time you're planning to get together with friends and family, you may consider that friend that hasn't attended or visit you in a while, they're missing in action. Possibly reach out to the quiet person that sits over in the corner alone. We never know why people isolate themselves or continuously do no-shows, but with this knowledge, we can be more aware of the possibilities and be concerned and not judgmental. If you sense something is just not normal with a person that you know their behavior patterns, just check in on them. Show concern. Don't give up on them. When they don't accept your invitations, don't give up on them. Just keep checking in on them and let them know that you're still there. You don't have to be pushy with them. You just let them know that you're their encourager and you're there for them wherever they need you. Sometimes you just have to make that extra visit to just pop in and it really does help, even though they don't think they want company. It really does help. So we can be the one that encourages, we can be the support system, and we can make a change and a difference in a life. So love them through it and don't forsake them. The articles that I have my bibliography on is from Rowan Roken, from Biological and Psychological Mechanisms of Seasonal Affective Disorder. It's in Current Psychiatry. Jepson T.L. Ernest, Current Perspectives on the Management of Seasonal Affective Disorder. Byrne Brainerd, Seasonal Affective Disorder and Light Therapy. American Family Physician. And Harvard Health Publishing, Onset of Depression, More Complex Than a Brain Chemical Imbalance. Thank you.